myself Dr. Anuj Kumar Purwa. Today I am taking lecture on water quality analysis part 1. Water from different sources such as rain, surface and underground contains impurities in the form of suspension, colloid and dissolved forms of organic and inorganic matter. In addition to that, water may contain microorganisms also. Unless the nature and magnitude of each object's naval element is determined, the water supply engineer cannot select the right source of water supply from the various available sources. Examination of water in the laboratory informs the presence and concentration of different impurities and helps to decide about the potability of water. Laboratory examination also helps to monitor efficiency of different purification units and to ascertain whether the water going for distribution is free from harmful impurities. Handling and collection of samples. In general, the shorter the time that elapses between collection of a sample and its analysis, the more reliable will be the result. For certain constituents and physical values, immediate analysis in the field is required in order to get realistic results. The laboratory report should also mention if any preservatives were added to the sample. If so, name of the preservative should be mentioned. Temperature can change very quickly. pH may change significantly in minutes. Dissolved gases may be lost or gained. Therefore, determination of temperature, pH and dissolved gases should always be carried out in the field. Always care should be taken to obtain a sample that is truly representative of existing conditions, and it should be handled in such a way that it does not deteriorate or become contaminated before reaching the laboratory. The record on the sample should include sufficient information to provide positive identification of the sample at a later date, as well as the name of the sample collector, date, hour and exact location of the collection. Before collecting samples from distribution system, the lines should be flushed for a sufficient period to ensure that the sample is representative of the supply, taking into account the diameter and length of the pipe to be flushed and the velocity of the flow. Details of sampling points should be described by maps. Before filling the sample, bottle should be rinsed 2 or 3 times with water being collected. Proper location, depth and frequency of sampling are important while collecting the sample from lakes and reservoirs, because quality of water changes considerably due to seasonal stratification, rainfall, runoff and wind. Method of sampling. When samples are collected from a river or stream, the sampling point should be from top to bottom in the middle of the stream. To collect samples from wells, the wells has to be pumped for sufficient time to ensure that the sample represent the groundwater source. Method of sampling depends on the type of equipment available, the nature of test and purpose for which the results of the analysis are to be utilized. Following 2 types of sample procedures are followed: grab or catch sampling and composite samples. Grab or catch sampling. A single catch sample collected from the sampling spot at any instant to determine the character of the sample at that particular instant is known as a grab sample. The frequency of grab sampling depends upon the magnitude of fluctuation in the quality of the source. Grab samples are required in the following cases: when frequent variation of certain constituents like pH and chlorine demand occur, Graph samples are collected and tested instantaneously. When the unusual occurrence of certain impurities are noticed, when the water quality remains more or less the same over a period of time. Composite samples. They are nothing but a mixture of graph samples collected at the same sampling point at different times. This procedure is also known as time composite sampling. Sample containers. It is important to know about the type of sample containers because there are reactions with samples contained in different type of containers. Silica and sodium are released from glass and plastic, and trace levels of metals are absorbed or adsorbed on the walls of the glass containers. Organic materials may be dissolved into the walls of plastic containers except those made or fluorinated polymer such as polytetrafluoroethylene. Hence, while taking water samples, care must be taken about the container in which the sample will be kept for analysis. Now, determination of suspended solids, dissolved solids and total solids. 50 ml of water sample is taken in a porcelain dish. Placing the dish on a steam bath, the water sample is evaporated to dryness. When the dish cools down, weight of the dish is taken along with the residue. Then the dish is cleaned, and after getting it dried again, weight of empty dish is taken. The difference between the two weights divided by the volume of the sample gives the total solid in the water per unit volume. Another 50 ml of water sample is taken. The sample is filtered through the filter paper in a funnel. The filter paper with residue is placed in an oven and evaporated to dryness. Weight of the filter paper with residue is taken. The difference between this weight and the weight of filter paper only gives the amount of suspended solid. Now subtracting it with amount of total solid, weight of dissolved solid is obtained. The amount of total solid up to 500 mg per liter in water generally makes it suitable for domestic use. So here are some calculation. Suppose volume of water sample taken 50 ml, weight of the empty dish W1 202.14 gram, weight of dish plus residue W2 is equal to 203.04 gram, weight of filter paper W3 1 gram, weight of suspended solid plus filter paper W4 is equal to 1.7 gram. So suspended solid is equal to W4 minus W3 is equal to 0.7 gram. This is in 50 ml sample. So suspended solid is equal to 0.7 into 1000 divided by 50 is equal to 14 gram per liter. Total solids in the sample is equal to W2 minus W1 is equal to 0.9 gram. So total solid is equal to 18 gram per liter. So dissolved solid is equal to total solid minus suspended solid is equal to 4 gram per liter. Example, here we see the for determination of total and suspended solids in a sample of raw water, 50 milliliter of water samples were taken, one in a porcelain dish and another in a small beaker. The sample of the porcelain dish was heated till water evaporated and solid residue were obtained. After cooling, the weight of the dish and the residue and weight of empty dish were taken and were found to be 104.06 and 101.49 respectively. The other sample was filtered out and weight of dry filter plus residue was found to be 1.9 gram. If weight of the filter was 1.2 gram, determine the amount of total solids, dissolved solids and suspended solids in gram per liter of the soil sample. So here the calculation: volume of water sample is equal to 50 ml, weight of the empty dish 101.49 gram, weight of dish plus residue 104.06 gram, weight of filter paper 1.20 gram, weight of filter paper plus suspended solid 1.90 gram. So weight of suspended solid is equal to 0.7 gram. So weight of suspended solid in gram per liter, this is the 14. Weight of total solid in 50 ml is equal to 104.06 minus 101.49 is equal to 2.57 gram. Weight of solid in gram per liter is equal to 2.57 into 1000 divided by 50 is equal to 14. Weight of dissolved solid is equal to 51.4 minus 14 is equal to 37.4 gram per liter. Determination of turbidity. One of the methods for determination of turbidity is by Jackson turbidity meter. For measuring the turbidity of a sample of water, thoroughly mixed water sample is slowly poured into the graduated tube, and the light of a standard bulb or candle is constantly seen from the top through the water. A stage comes when light sources just disappear from the side. At this position, the volume of water in the tube is noted, as we are seeing in the picture. Corresponding to this volume, turbidity can be known with a standard chart between depth of the water in the tube versus turbidity as given in table. This is the graduation of candles turbidity meters. Here light path in centimeter, then the corresponding value turbidity unit. So we got the value of light path from the experiment, and when we compare with this graph, we can get the turbidity value. Determination of pH value and residual chlorine. Determination of pH value of a sample of water is useful in industries for the control of large scale operations involving chemical flocculation, neutralization, etc. Residual chlorine to free chlorine remaining in water after about 50 to 30 minutes of contact between the water and the chlorine dose for chlorination. Its permissive value varies between 0.05 to 0.2 mg per liter, so that it keeps water safe against pathogenic bacteria. For determination of pH value and residual chlorine of a water sample, 10 ml of the water sample is taken in 2 glass tubes of the comparator. 3 to 4 drop of BDH universal indicator is added into one of the test tube. The glass tube is now placed in position in the comparator. The comparator is held against some background of the light. The color comparator disc is rotated till the color of the test tube sample added with indicator coincide with the color of any one color disc views against the background of blank test tube. pH value is read directly from the disc. Similarly, in a test tube, thymol blue, bromophenol, orthotoluidine are added as indicator, and with color disc the value of residual chlorine is known. Determination of alkalinity. For determination of alkalinity, 100 ml of water sample is taken. Adding 3 to 4 drops of phenolphthalein as indicator, the color of water becomes pink. The sample with indicator is titrated with standard H2SO4 solution till the pink color disappears. Volume of H2SO4 used is denoted by the A. To this solution, 3 to 4 drops of methyl orange is added till color becomes yellow. Titration is done till pink color reappears. This is end point. Total volume of acid used may be denoted as the B. So here are the 3 conditions. When A is equal to B, only hydroxyl ions are present. Then alkalinity will be equal to A into 10 mg per liter. When A greater than B by 2, so here are 2 conditions. either hydroxyl ion are present, then alkalinity are 2 into A minus B in bracket into 10 milligram per liter. Second category, carbonate ions are present, alkalinity are is equal to 2 into bracket A minus B into 10 milligram per liter. Third category, when A is equal to B by 2, carbonate ions are present, alkalinity is equal to B into 10 milligram per liter. Fourth possibility, when A less than B by 2, so here again two possibilities, carbonate ion are present, then alkalinity is equal to 2A into 10 milligram per liter. If bicarbonate ion are present, alkalinity is equal to in bracket B minus 2A into 10 milligram per liter. Fifth possibility, when A is equal to 0, bicarbonate ion are present, then alkalinity is equal to B into 10 milligram per liter. So here is the example, one numerical problem. For determination of alkalinity in a water sample, following observations were noted when phenol, phthalate and methyl orange indicators were used respectively in 100 milliliter of water sample. Indicate cause and amount of alkalinity in the sample of water. Here the data is given, bureau reading is given, and volume of H2SO4 used in the milliliter, and the as indicator phenolphthalein first in case used, and in second case this is the methyl orange as indicator when used. So volume of water sample taken 100 milliliter, concordant reading with phenolphthalein indicator 1 milligram 1 milliliter, concordant reading with methyl orange indicator 25 milliliter. Here A is equal to 1 milliliter and B here the 1 plus 25 26 milliliter. So from observed reading, it is found that A less than the B by 2. Therefore, it can be referred as only carbonate and bicarbonate ion are the present. So alkalinity of carbonate ion is equal to 2A into 10 is equal to 20 milligram per liter. Here A is equal to 1 milliliter. Alkalinity of bicarbonate ion is equal to B minus 2A into 10 milligram per liter. So value is, answer comes 240 milligram per liter. Thus the alkalinity is only due to the carbonate and bicarbonate ion, and they are 10 milligram per liter and 250 milligram per liter respectively. And this is all about the water quality analysis part 1, and in coming lecture we will see the water quality analysis part 2. Thank you.